Hello, my name is Kirk. I'm the creator of @ThreeBodyBot on Twitter, and this video is a tutorial to show you how to use the code to make your own animations on Windows. So I'm going to pop up my screen. I'm on the bot's little Twitter homepage here, and you're going to click this link to follow to the GitHub. So this is where all the code is always hosted for this thing. And what we really only need is this file. But I'm going to go ahead and download the entire code just because that's easier. If you know how to use Git, you can type git clone and then this address. But to make things as easy as possible, I would just hit download a zip file. So download the zip file. You can see I've actually just done it a second ago. Once that downloads, we can show this in folder. There it is. Copy it, put it someplace where you're going to remember it. I guess we can just leave it in downloads. And so then I'll just extract it, but you might want to move it someplace else. Extract all. Nice. And now we have, I don't know why it makes two. I hate that it does that. But you can see now you have an exact copy of all the files that are on this big site up there. And the ThreeBodyProd.jl file is the one that we want. So you're going to want to open this. Now, I just installed VS Code on Windows, which is pretty easy to do, and it's a nice code editor that I use normally on the Linux side. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to, if you think you'll not actually do a lot of coding or whatever. You can just open this in Notepad, and it'll look like this if you do that. But so there's no pretty colors. But it works fine, and you can edit it and do whatever. For the sake of looking at the pretty colors, I am going to open it in VS Code. So I'll hit open with code. And there we go. Now we have some nice colors. And you can see that there are some instructions in this script that I hope will be easy enough to follow and that we're going to go through together. So the first is that we need to check that we have a recent-ish version of Julia installed. If you don't already have Julia installed, understandable. It's still a new programming language. That's why I chose to actually do ThreeBot in Julia, is because I wanted to force myself to kind of learn Julia. But it's really easy to install. You can just Google install Julia Windows. Go to the download page on julialang.org and click the 64-bit installer, unless you have like a really old computer. So you click that link. I've already done it, so I'm not going to do it again, but you can just click that link and then it installs just like any other program. You can check that once it's installed, try to run it. So you can type Julia there. If we get to the prompt, it worked. Okay, so then we'll go back to the code and say within Julia, we need to check that we have the required packages below in the using statement installed. So you can see these are the packages that this script uses. It uses plots, random, printf, plots.measures, and dates. These all are in the like core Julia package, but I found out when I installed Julia for the first time on Windows that they don't actually come by default until you like initialize your Julia package environment. So I'll show you how to do that. So go to Julia. You want to run it as an administrator because we're going to have to make some changes to the file system. And then you're going to push the right square bracket key on your keyboard, that one, okay, right over towards the edge. And this will take us to the package manager within Julia. And then we'll type like add plots. And it's going to tell me that I already have it because I've just done this a minute ago. But for you, it'll take a second to go through it. But it'll actually go through, when you type add plots, it'll go through and add a bunch of them. Because it'll basically say, oh, like, we've just initialized Julia. Here's all the base packages that we need. You can then check, and you should, but you should check for the other ones. So you could type add random, add print f, add plots.measures. Oh, I forgot. That's just within plots, duh. And add dates. There we go. Then once we're done with that, you can push backspace to get out of the package manager, and you can type exit to leave the Julia terminal if you like. Now we need to make sure that we have FFmpeg installed. This is the thing that actually makes the animation frames. So if you go like all the way to the bottom of the script, there's this file here, and it needs to run a command with FFmpeg. That's what compiles it. Like the main script generates a ton of frames, and then we have to compile them all together. So I found that I thought that this came by default. It came by default, I think, in Linux, but I guess it doesn't really come by default in Windows. But you can check by typing like FFmpeg -version, and I have installed it, and so you can see that I get a result. But if you type that in your command prompt, you don't get a result, then you don't have it. So we have to follow some extra bits of instructions, but they're not too bad. So to go download it, Google FFmpeg download. Follow this. Click the Windows one, and I used this site. I think the other one probably works just as well. And I went down, I just said, we only need the essentials instead of the full one. So I clicked this. There you go. Starts downloading a 7-zip file. Now, what you're going to want to do with this is move it probably out of downloads. If you have a place where you like to install like external packages, that's fine. I just moved it to like literal the C drive. So if you copy it and paste it, you can see I have it here. So, okay. So this is the 7-zip file, which means you also have to have 7-zip to uninstall it or to extract it. But that is also free and easy. You would click this one, right? If you don't have this, you should have this, by the way. It's a great little useful tool. Okay, so once you have that, use 7-zip to extract it. You can just extract here. I'm going to delete it because I've already done that. And then, you can see that I then also renamed the folder FFmpeg instead of like whatever FFmpeg dash blah, blah, all this long stuff. Okay, so then in the end, you should have a folder that looks like this, and it should have these things inside of it. Then you're going to go to your advanced system settings, which I just found by typing advanced system settings in the start menu. And we're going to add this to our path. So if you go to environment variables, so that Windows basically knows how to find it, you'll see path here. And I'm going to hit edit. And you can see I have a line added here that looks like this. So I can delete it really quick. And I can just go to new C users. Oops, I think it's just C FFmpeg bin. Right? Let's check, make sure that, yeah. C FFmpeg bin. That's where the little launch script is. Okay, and you just click OK, saves your changes. Okay, now if that worked, we should be able to go to a command prompt and type FFmpeg -version. Oh yeah, there we go. Now you have FFmpeg installed. So now the whole script should work. Okay, so now we'll go back to VS Code. And it says we need to set up an empty subdirectory called TMP plots. This is because how I have it set up, all the frames get saved to a folder called TMP plots. So I'll go to where we saved ThreeBodyBot. Okay, so here it is right here. I'm just going to make a new folder and call it TMP plots. Booyah. Then it says to go down to line 693 and uncomment the makeAnim function call. So go all the way down to the bottom, 693. There we go. Uncomment, just delete the hashtag. Okay. And then it says we need to save it. Okay. So now I've saved it. Scroll back up. Save this file. Now I just need to run it. There are a couple different ways you can do that. So you can tell, for example, you can tell Windows that you want to open, you can tell it to open with like Julia, but we need to do it as an administrator. I'm going to show you what I think is the better way. which is let's just go ahead and launch our Julia prompt again as an administrator. We have to do it as an administrator because we're going to be like creating files and running commands and these kinds of things. Actually, it's the running commands that needs to be done as an administrator for the FFmpeg thing. And then we can type this command, pwd. That'll tell us where we are right now. We want to be, if you go look at this thing, we want to be in the directory where this script is. So we want to be here. So I'm going to type change directory. What's after my username? Downloads. You can push tab and it'll autocomplete. And I'll type ThreeBodyBot master. It'll autocomplete. And then I think there was even one more, right? And then I'll push enter. And now if we do pwd, we're there. And then we can type, to make sure we're in the right place with all the right files, we can type read directory. And you can see that there's the file we want to use, ThreeBodyProp.jl. So now I can include ThreeBodyProp.jl. And if I type enter, it will start running the script. So right now it's probably compiling these packages, the plots and printf and dates packages, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to modify this so it'll tell you more what it's doing, I guess, at the beginning, so you don't think it's just hanging up. But it does take a second to get going because it has to randomly try. Well, it has to initialize these packages, then it has to randomly try a bunch of different solutions to find one that works. But there we can see it's found one that lasted 16.6 years. There's a collision between bodies 2 and 3. And you can see the energy losses of the whole system. This is like the error that comes from using the integration scheme that I'm doing as 0.0001%. These things that is printing out are part of my new camera system that makes it so that it doesn't jump around so much. I'm going to delete those print calls so it doesn't spam you. But you can see it's updating nice down here. It's 47% complete. Go to like temp plots. You can see, look, now there's a ton of frames. You can kind of watch it in live time, do its little thing. There we go. It's made an animation. You can go check. It should have called this, yeah, 3-body. And if we click this, look at it go. You made a 3-body problem animation just on your computer. Now, if you want to specify how the things start, like how big they are, these kind of things, you have to dive into the code a little bit more. But that's a nice way to just get started. And then if you want to do it again, within the same Julia prompt, you can just type main. That will make the frames, and then colon makeAnim, and that will generate another animation. And so you could run that again, and it will search for a new solution, and it'll start making new frames, and it'll repeat itself. There you go. That is how to make random 3-body problem simulations in Julia on Windows from the code. Enjoy and share with me your favorite things. Some fun things that you could try to do to change is you could, for example, increase the resolution. For Twitter, I have it set at 720p because that's in a square, because that's what Twitter recommends. But you could increase that to 1080p and maybe make it actually go to the full window. That should be pretty easy to do. You should try to add in, for example, if you set up, you can just set up your own R like this as a comment, kind of showing how you would do this if you wanted to make your own initial conditions. That should be pretty easy to modify. So yeah, have fun. Share with me your results. And thanks for watching.